This is a moment of self-reflection. It almost, to me, reads as a bit of a taunt. He's frustrated and wants to make it clear that, there will be a price to pay for this meeting, and he's taking notes. If I had advice for India, it would be, I understand the hurt, but at the same time, understand who you're dealing with.
I'm now joined by Daniel Markey, Senior Fellow at the South Asia and China programs at the Stimson Center in Washington, D.C. Thanks so much, Daniel, for joining me here. Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Let me begin by asking you this. US President Donald Trump has posted on Truth Social, looks like we've lost India and Russia to deepest, darkest China. May they have a long and prosperous future together. Has Trump had a rare moment of self-realization and epiphany here? The question is, who lost India and how? Donald Trump did, with his tariffs and daily insults. What's your take?
Yeah, I don't know that this is a moment of self-reflection. It almost, to me, reads as a bit of a taunt. I think he's certainly not suggesting, oops, I lost India. My actions or tough messages with India or difficult policies on tariffs or whatnot has lost India, and that's a problem. No, to the contrary, I think he's suggesting effectively, good luck to all of you if you think that you can go your own way without the United States and India in particular. And I think this is in effect doubling down on a challenge to India and a suggestion that India needs the United States more than the United States needs India. So I read it as more of the same rather than an about face.
More of the same. So, for days now, many have been asking, is Trump rattled by the images that came out of Tianjin that hosted the SEO summit? The smiles, hugs, and handshakes among Prime Minister Modi and Presidents Xi Jinping and Putin. And then, of course, now comes this post. Some, of course, are wondering whether Trump is suggesting that he couldn't care less. And that seems to be your reading. Is that correct, Daniel?
Yeah, I don't know about couldn't care less. I think it's, suffer the consequences of this behavior. You will regret it. I don't think he's delighting in it. I do think, I have trouble getting into the mind of our president, and it's a dangerous place to be. So I rarely try. But I do think that the images coming out of this summit were obviously calibrated to demonstrate that the United States is not the indispensable global leader that it wishes to be, or that Donald Trump doesn't have to be at the center of every global gathering as he would wish to be. And I think that rankles. But rather than having his response be to reflect back and think about ways to resolve this or maybe be more accommodating, it is, as I say, doubling down on a strategy to suggest that, sure, India, good luck. Good luck to you working with China, your clear adversary and next door, much more powerful and dangerous next door neighbor. And good luck to Russia if you think that China can solve your problems as well. So, and then also there's a very clear angle here of calling China deepest, darkest China, which reflects not an accommodating view looking to the future of a G2 or a closer working relationship, a cooperative relationship with the Chinese, but in fact, a continued competitive one. So that to me is an interesting signal as well.
Trust Donald Trump to send confused and mixed signals because, on the one hand, while of course most in the world believe that the greatest adversary for the United States of America today is China, but look at Trump's recent utterances. Not only has he spared China, fresh sanctions, despite the fact that China is the largest buyer of Russian oil in the world, he decides to target India instead. But, he's also been saying things like, Xi Jinping is a great leader, he and I have a great relationship. I plan to visit China later this year. We'll invite 600,000 Chinese students into the United States. We're going to have a deal between the United States and China. And now suddenly he calls China a deep, dark state.
That's right. But look, China's not alone, and frankly, India's not alone. They are just today's targets for President Trump's ire, and maybe yesterday they were targets for his sort of fawning and more positive signals. Ask Canada, ask the Europeans, ask Mexico. They've all felt similar things. This sort of whiplash of one day they're a favored partner, the next day they're America's adversary or even enemy, and deserving of some kind of tough punishment. So this is the way that President Trump is operating. He presumably sees this as a hard-edged bargaining approach to dealing with the rest of the world. There's no love there. There's no genuine affection. It's just you use those as tools to get what you think you want from other powers. And so, if that means sort of a soft concessions or signaling the possibility of a much better working relationship with the Chinese to butter them up, and then to call them deepest, darkest China, he'll do exactly that. And from the perspective of his supporters, the argument would be that this is the embodiment of an America First strategy. That is, the world is a dangerous, difficult place. The goal of the American president should not be to actually signal genuine endearment with any other power or to capitulate or concede anything. The best thing for America to do is to negotiate in any way necessary in order to get the very best possible deals that he thinks he can get. And that seems to, in my view, be the best explanation for this back and forth, on and off again approach.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. When you look at this Truth Social post by Donald Trump, does it look like he's almost officially acknowledging that, we're perhaps entering Cold War 2.0 with the United States on one side and Russia and China on the other? And, does it look like India is going to play an important role in this? How do you look at it?
Yeah. Look, again, let's not read too much into a single truth post, truth social post. Tomorrow, the post could be very different. So I am also reluctant to impute to President Trump a depth of geopolitical strategic analysis, which likens this era to any other era. I think that he seems to treat relationships in, as we've said before, and many will say again, a very transactional way. And so to suggest that we've entered a new Cold War or a world of spheres of influence or any other geopolitical model that analysts like me might like to throw around, I think goes further than where his mind actually seems to be. He's working in the here and now. And as of today, at the moment where he decided to post that item on Truth Social, he's frustrated and wants to make it clear that there will be a price to pay for this meeting, and he's taking notes, he's paying attention. But beyond that, I think we would be in danger of overreading, his geopolitical analysis.
Does he have one? One wonders at times. But let me ask you this question, Daniel. You well aware there's a lot of resentment here in India, and people believe the United States simply cannot be trusted anymore. Trump has unleashed an economic war on India with his steep 50% tariffs, and he and his cabinet members are insulting India on a daily basis. So, in that sense, has Trump completely burnt the India US relationship, in your view?
Yes and no. The yes part is yes. I watch what's happening in India. I hear plenty about it, and I appreciate that there are personal, political, and other costs that will be paid from this kind of cavalier approach, diplomatic approach to India, which seems not to care much at all about things that many Indians hold dear. And that price may be paid over not just months, but maybe years. And I probably will be hearing about it for the rest of my professional career. However, on the other side, this is a president who thinks that he can sort of bluster from one diatribe to the next, and then pull back and have a big bear hug, and it's all over and forgotten. And that is the way that he has done business before he came into the presidency. That's the way he plays politics. Watch how he uh, sort of devastatingly attacks his political opponents here in the United States and then is willing to turn around and work a deal with them the very next day, the very next hour. Again, this notion of a kind of a deeper affection assumes a certain kind of a personal loyalty and sense of long-standing relationships that do not define Donald Trump politically, or it seems diplomatically. Maybe don't define him personally either. And I think that that's how we have to accept this. And if I had advice for India, it would be: I understand the hurt, but at the same time, understand who you're dealing with, and that he is reflective of a certain perspective in America, but he's certainly not reflective of the many efforts in the United States over many years to cultivate better working relationships with India. Many of those interests are still very hard at work. And so I think we'll see them continue, if maybe more behind the scenes. And hopefully that'll take us back to a better situation in the relationship.